So here we are in a 1972 Toyota Celica GT.
Flat light!
That's right, so an early one.
Yeah.
1600cc.
Gen 1 Celica. The flat light actually came out and some governing body came along and went, let me have a look at this car, please. And they noticed that the filler cap for the fuel was between the lights and the tank was right at the back of the car, which they had a problem with.
Yeah.
Said, if you have a crash...
Boom.
Exactly.
That's right, not good.
So out came the next one. They put the filler on the side and moved the tank forward. But this is the one, to me, the one that you want. It's the naughty one.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, these cars are great. They're quite small in a sort of...
well, every sense, really.
Yeah, sort of Ford Escort Mark 1.
Yeah.
You know, maybe
right.
Vauxhall Viva-ish style.
Yeah, they're not quite Capri size, are they?
No, not quite Capri. However, it's got that 1600 engine, and it's a twin cam, twin
carb, twin Solex. Yeah. Now here's the thing, Fuzz. Right. So my initial reaction to driving this car is one of being very impressed.
Yeah.
I have to say, you know what? I have sort of, you know, when I go back to my times at school and when I was falling in love with pretty much every car out there, I was very much at school days into the sort of German market. That was kind of the way it was.
I know, I understand what you're saying, but look, this car is absolutely specced out to the max though, isn't it?
Well, exactly, and it was a mistake. I felt like, I remember looking back over, you know, Japanese friends' cars and what have you, and I remember looking inside.
Japanese friends' cars?
Yeah.
You had lots of Japanese friends.
No, I didn't mean it. I remember looking in the windows of friends that had Japanese cars and going,
Yeah.
oh, look at it, it's so plastic, it's so tacky.
Yeah, but it looks good now, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Back then, that's what you said, and that felt right to say that. But now, from driving this with a 5-speed box,
Yeah.
with a 5-speed box, 120 brake horsepower or thereabouts, I was so wrong.
Yeah. How does it feel?
Tight. It feels like I'm driving a car from the mid 1980s or something like that.
Okay, now this car is nearly 50 years old.
Well, it does not feel like it at all. The steering is responsive. Every little twitch, there isn't play in anything, Fuzz, which really surprises me. And I wonder if that is because, I mean, do you know what? Actually, when you think about it, Toyota, I think, is one of the 2 top-selling car manufacturers on the planet.
Yeah.
And you only need to look at this car for many different reasons, but you only need to look at this car to realise just how good they were at making cars. Now, the other thing about this car, which I love, is the styling.
Oh yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic. On the outside, I don't think there's a bad angle.
No, there isn't, is there?
No.
But you know, right, I'm into my cars, I'm into modifying cars, and I always have modified cars. This car came factory fresh, box fresh, looking like it had been modified.
Yeah, you're right actually. It does look like a customised car.
Look at the vents.
Yeah, they're great.
Which you can see. A lot of car vents you can't see. Look at the wing mirrors. I mean, are they standard? Yes, they are.
That's right. And the interior, it's specced out to the max. You've got loads of gauges, oil, ammeter, temperature gauge, obviously a fuel gauge, but you've got a tachometer as well, you know, so you've got a rev counter basically there.
Yeah.
You've got great vents, lots of black plastic.
Stuff to do, stuff to look at.
Yeah, that's right. And in the back, the 2 seats in the back, they're sculpted, they're bucket seats, and there's pretty much decent leg room for adults in there as well.
Right, so dude, I mean, in the front here, I'm 6'6" or thereabouts. You're what, 6'2"?
Yeah, 6'1".
Right, so we're big guys and plenty of room, no?
Yeah, well, I can feel behind me.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room. This seat is not up against the rear seat. A front seat is quite often on a small sort of coupe car. It's quite often, you know, just, you know, the last thing that you can.
Did we turn around there?
Yes, we did.
Fine.
Yeah, look, I'm in the front seat here. And I've got plenty of leg room, and behind me there's plenty of space. An adult can sit behind me.
This car is a tiny little engine, but it's actually reassessing my whole take on classic cars. You know what, I've always been, you know, what is the car? What is one of the few cars that I'm doing up at the moment?
Ford Mustang.
Right, 65 fastback I've got with a 5-litre V8, 289 in it.
Yeah.
Big thumping engine, pretty gutless at the moment. But, do you know what, I've had this obsession with always having big engine cars, and this is the car that is kind of changing my mind on that, dude.
Well, it's a mini Mustang.
It is, but you don't need 5 litres, you don't need 4 litres. Actually, with a little thing like this, which is only a 1.6, it's fine. And you know what, it may be the sensible thing, because in a world where classic cars, unfortunately, you know this, we're all going green, we're all going electric, we're all going this, that and the other. how much longer will we be allowed to have hobbies and have the hobby of how much longer will we be able to have the hobby of driving big petrol engine cars before the green powers come down on us and go kill it?
Well, I know what you're saying, but this car, let's look at the negatives on it.
Go on.
Okay, so one of the negatives is that it only has a 1600 engine.
I don't think it's a negative.
Do you not?
No.
Okay.
I really don't, Fuzz, because you know what? In the last couple of years, we have seen changes, massive changes in terms of, you know, the motoring industry is now being slammed for diesels. It's a matter of time before big engine petrols won't be allowed into city centres as well. You know what? And imagine if they brought out a rule where they went anything under a 1.8 litre petrol or a 1.6 and below could come into the city centre. It's not beyond, you know, conceivability that could happen. Imagine if they did. This would be the only classic in town from.
Okay.
That sort of
okay. All right. Okay.
Appearance.
You've taken that one from me. What about the handling, though? I mean, you know, it's got to be pretty poor handling.
It's not. It's actually. It is what it is. I mean, it is a car from the 70s, but you could be forgiven for forgetting that and driving it like you're driving a car from the mid 80s. I feel like to get a similar drive experience in England with a British car, you'd be driving a Mark II Capri.
Right. Okay.
So we're talking 80s.
Okay. Mark III.
Is that yeah? I feel was it 70? Oh yeah. I feel to get a similar drive experience in England in an English car, you'd be talking Mark III Capri.
You reckon?
Yep.
Well, yeah, maybe you're right actually. But come on, there must be one negative to this car. Steering. How heavy is it?
No, yeah, okay. You've got me on that one. The one thing about this car is that it could really do with some PAS, some power assistance.
Okay, right. So people who are used to driving modern cars would find this steering diabolically heavy?
Yeah, dude.
Is it really heavy?
Yeah, really. I mean, I'm pretty strong in the arms and nowhere else, and I'm struggling with it.
Okay.
So, I dare I say it, but a pune, somebody, the noodle arm, couldn't drive this car.
Okay, so parkability. If you were parking this car,
you're in trouble. You're in big trouble with this car.
Okay.
But it is, right, to say all that, it is why do people buy classic cars? Let's boil it down to the reality, the truth of why men or women buy classic cars. What is it for? Excluding the experience of driving, what's the other reason?
it's the looks, it's the style.
Yeah, it's the turning of the heads, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
And we all admit that, and very few people admit that, but I'll admit it. And the thing is, with this car, it's a car in a market that's saturated with well-known classic cars. It's the one that got away. It's the one that people look at and go, what's that?
That's right. It's the Mini Mustang.
It's cool.
The Mini Mustang with the black interior. It's even got a black roof lining.
Yeah.
This car is cool from every angle, in and out.
Attitude, that's what this car screams. Right, so let's give it, in terms of car sausages, out of 10, 10 being the best car on the planet, best classic car on the planet, 0 being the worst, how many car sausages do you give it?
I'm going to give it a surprising 7.
Are you really?
I was going to go for 6, but I'm going to give it a 7 because it is that surprising car.
I'm going to give it a 9, dude.
9?
A 9.
Well, even with heavy steering?
Absolutely, a 9. Honestly, I have been blown away. It's a happy surprise to drive this car. And if I didn't have a classic car, and I had the money and I could afford one, I'd get one of these.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, okay. That's a testament to the Celica GT then.
So there we are then.
Okay, so you've given it a 9, I've given it a 7. So that overall is 8 links of sausages. That's a massive breakfast.
That's a big breakfast.
I tell you what, it's a fair old portion for 2.
Yes, it is, but worth every single gulp.
That's right.
This car gives me a massive hard one.
And you've given it a huge portion as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, the hard one being the decision as to whether or not to sell everything I own and buy one or not.
Yeah. And you've given it a huge portion of car sausage as well.
Absolutely.
There we are.